I'm here with Anish Giri, who just drew his round 4 game against Fabiano Caruana. Anish, we now have an iPad. We used to discuss all the lines, looking at them, but looking at the board, it was an interesting battle between you and Fabi. Did you ever feel like the balance was going into one side or another, or did you feel?
Yeah, I think practically, definitely. I felt the peak of my advantage was when he had very low time, but I think very often when you have such a big time advantage and a psychological initiative, like for example the fact that I could have forced a draw, and I can also choose to play for a win, all of those things combined, like it makes you feel that you are much better. So we're both getting quite worked up about it. But yeah, I mean, at some point I kind of realized that he cannot improve his position, and his position is not very comfortable because his knight is bad. But the problem is that I can't really break through either. I don't really have an idea. And I tried to come up with this h6, g5 thing because of his time scramble, and I imagined that at least
let's show these moments on the...
well, the idea was so here he started to stand, rook d1, rook e1. So I started thinking that, okay, maybe he just wants to stand. And then I realized, okay, whenever I go c4, that's how I can always make a draw, when the king not on, let's say here. Let's say here, I can always go for this thing, but it will be a drawn rook endgame. So I should wait for the right moment to go c4. So he can't really improve his position much. If he goes rook e4, then he has to calculate these kind of things, I think. So that I think that also d5 maybe. So this kind of bothered him. So he just started standing, and I thought, okay, I'll get here, and if he would have kept standing, then maybe one day I'll sort of somehow switch to the h file with my rook somehow and the queen and in the time scramble, whatever. But he got to improve the rook, and to be honest, I realized around here that I still had some kind of hope when I went. I had some kind of. Yeah, this initially I thought maybe this works, but it doesn't work at all because he has even these kind of things, and I'm just getting made aside. Then I realized that besides my time advantage, there's nothing more going on, and I don't think I'm better at all. What I've created is just weaken myself, and he got the rook to activate on a4, and his knight on b3 cannot really move, but I also can't exert further pressure. I think, to be honest, my biggest chance was, and I felt that here that I'm probably better, and I was trying to find a move, because I felt that there might be one move which is good. And I kind of felt it might be h5. After a very long thought, it occurred to me. Because first I tried to force things with c4 and all kinds of different variations and calculations, different forcing ideas. But then I realized that, okay, maybe he doesn't have a next move. Because queen d6, I think I always have rook f2, queen f8 maybe, but I think I have c4. So this kind of works for me. Rook e7, also queen f6. But then I started wondering, okay, first of all, he can play a move like rook c2, defend the pawn. I think he's threatening here as well, so it's not so easy. But also started wondering about ideas like knight a5, because it's quite insane. First I was calculating a5, but then I realized maybe even without the pawn, knight a5, queen a2, knight c6, it's not so bad for white, because knight coming to e7 controls d4 square, and I can of course include this. And I only saw later with computer that there's a very nice trick here, which I didn't see, of course. I don't remember which order, I think. Maybe here. The idea is that if he just goes along, I think I have this very remarkable, very weird tactic.
And white cannot avoid it.
Yeah, so I didn't believe knight a5, and I was sure he was not going to play, but even knight a5 I couldn't refute. So I decided to just play rook e5, rook e5. I knew that I'm just very slightly better there, it's controlled. I didn't, but I felt there was something more, because I have a lot of pieces. Trading one pair of rooks was a little bit small. But I guess the most remarkable moment was in the opening when I played this rare line with knight e7 and bc. It's supposed to be better for white, probably is, but the way he played rook c1, there is this, it's a very nice idea what he did, but I knew that there is this incredible trick takes in rook b5, which is very unusual. Rook c6, queen d7 probably. So yes, suddenly when this very unusual trick, I'm doing very well. And here I realized that although at home I saw that the computer showed equal and I even knew the line, I realized over the board that he's never going to play that way. The computer showed something like this, and I didn't understand how white is going to survive here with all the pins. It looks really nice for black.
But did you stress at the board that you didn't?
No, I mean,
check
no, the opposite. I realized that he's not going to play the best line, and I realized that I'm just slightly better, probably. And that's what happened. So, yeah, it was very nice that with black against Fabi, so well prepared, I got very comfortable position from the opening. And then, okay, there was some psychological feeling like, like I'm sort of better because everything is great, but I think the position still is quite solid for him, and it is more like getting worked up about the circumstances, but not really the reality.
A slightly frustrating draw, maybe in the end, like where you felt you had some slight.
Yeah, I think I was more frustrated during the game than after, because I felt there was something more. But after I checked with computer, I don't think there is anything substantial.
This is your third draw in a row. We have to talk about the first round game against Gukesh, which was, of course, a heartbreaking loss. How did you deal with that?
Well, I can't really deal with that. I have to play next rounds. Also, it was kind of, I realized that it's kind of early to draw. Like, I mean, sometimes when you have a heartbreaking loss, you could, for example, think about the end of the end of the tournament, or like maybe your retirement, different things. But I realized that to have these big thoughts after one game when there are 12 games are left, maybe a bit early. So, but of course, yeah, it was a remarkable game, and it was really, really interesting. So many things. How, it was a combination of some things he's done really well, some things I've done badly, and some incredible circumstances as well. The kind of moves that appeared out of nowhere, with both of us not seeing any of that, and it just remains fascinating game. And I have to say, although. Of course, I feel that I shouldn't have lost the game. In a way, there are also reasons why I did. So, it happens like that sometimes. And he fought really, really well. And I think it's a quality of some of the great players. When the situation, like sometimes you're basically losing, and everybody knows you're losing. Like you blunder some kind of thing. You have no time, and basically you're heading towards a loss. And in that moment, it's really hard to resist that. But he tried to fight, and I saw his defensive moves too. But I still felt. I mean, that also was the thing that I felt that somehow he would collapse, but also, I felt that these moves shouldn't hold, but somehow they kept holding. And I made some mistakes. For example, I could have done something cleaner instead of Queen b6 Rook f2. I should have calculated more precisely the Rook takes g2 line. I calculated that, but it was hard also because I found the win in Queen b6 Rook f2, which I thought was a win. And it's hard, you have not so much time. You're not going to look for all kinds of wins and think which is the cleanest. I mean, it was not so easy, and it was remarkable. Like every move that I would see that at every moment there was a move. There's one move, it doesn't lose on the spot, and that move kept coming. So like when first I saw there's Queen f3, I couldn't believe it, but I saw it, and then it came, and then I calculated all the queen retreats. I realized Queen c3 is a weird move.
Should we pull it up real quick, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think the opening he sort of mixed something up because there is this piece sack line, but not here, and he mixed that up. So I got a really good position. I wasn't planning. It was like a very weird game. I wasn't planning to go knight g4, king h8. I was initially planning some rook c2 thing, I think. But then I realized that this endgame is not really needed for me at all, and I realized that I can just go knight g4, and rook c2, rook g2 was working, and I missed rook d1. So I had a brief moment of panic, because rook c2 now, which was my threat, is met by knight f6, and then I realized that, hang on, I can just play king h8. Maybe it's okay, and then I realized it's brilliant, that it's just, I'm just winning now. And after king h1, he blundered rook c2, and the point is that he wanted to move the queen somewhere, I don't know, f4 e1, but of course the intention is to go here, and he blundered this beautiful shot. So normally this is where the game ends. Like he basically already blundered, and he had like 8 seconds when he made this move. And then I thought that maybe there is, I calculated take rook f3, all kinds of moves, and I thought maybe there is the move queen f3 here. Like, I mean, maybe. And I couldn't believe it, but there were many interesting things. First of all, at some point I thought I found the cleanest win, and it was very beautiful. Knight h2, queen h6, bishop f5, but there's queen f6 check intermezzo. Later in the game, that was not.
And king is always in the wrong spot
so
somehow.
of course I was thinking about obviously this, And I was thinking about different captures. 91 rook d1 queen g5 was one thing, which I think was not winning. I think that, I don't know if I saw 93 to be frank. But even if I did, I might have missed queen a5. I don't remember honestly. Like something was bothering me. I didn't think this was clean at all. But suddenly after queen a5, it is collapsing. Then I saw this queen b6, rook f2, and there is a very beautiful line. Queen b3 is the tempting move. Take, take, knight f2. And okay, there is this classic mate, but also here there is queen e1. And the other move was, which I thought was normal, was queen e4, and there is bishop f5. Then I realized he can maybe put queen on c3. After bishop b4, then he will go queen b3. And then take knight f2 doesn't work because of queen b4 in the end.
I'm getting frustrated even just looking at this and
no,
hearing your
then
explanation.
Bishop d5, then I saw queen h4 check, not queen f8. And then I realized, oh, I have bishop f5, a3, there is bishop e4. So I saw this bishop e4 from like, it was always what I was hoping for. So I thought epic, and then I saw, okay, maybe he has queen c1, maybe. And then it came. I thought anyway I'm gonna do this. But then it doesn't work because queen h4, knight h6, queen e4. Then I thought, then actually I found this bishop f8 idea, which I thought is tremendous. Because now I'm going to cover with bishop h6 and I'm threatening bishop e4. And he went, wait. It was funny because I had moments of clarity in this game, but at the same time, yeah, here actually I started already panicking a little because I realized that my threat of bishop e4 is not a threat. So I started worrying about a move like e6 and d6. Bishop e4 takes rook h2, there's queen h2 now. So at this moment I realized that like basically before that I thought I'm winning and I saw the win, and now I realized that it's no longer clear. And then he made this move rook d1, which looks absolutely ridiculous. Like there is e6 and d6. And I don't see what this move does because bishop e4 is not a threat, but maybe it prevents rook g2. Anyway, this move looks ridiculous. I thought, okay, I relaxed again because I thought this move is terrible. I'm winning now.
It's quite the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, even queen b2 I thought was great. I didn't see what he wants. I guess rook f2 I can take and come back, and there's all kinds of mates and everything. And then he went h3, and I saw rook g2, hg, and the queen is protecting h2, which is kind of shocking. But then, of course, I saw bishop e4, and I was calculating for a second hg, bishop g2, king g1. It was not so clear. And then I realized bishop e4, hg, there's rook f1 check. It's kind of standard puzzle rush thing. And then I thought I'm winning, and just they have this habit, which is good to verify that you're winning before you're winning. But then as I was verifying, I realized there was rook f2, which was a massive bummer. And then I was like, okay, but then I can take first on f1 and go bishop e4. But then I realized there is queen d8, rook f7, and some checks.
Counter, yeah.
And at that moment, I suddenly couldn't see a win. So I didn't see an alternative. I didn't see the either way. And then I just had like seconds. So then I just thought, okay, I'll make the move which I felt was winning at first, and then we'll see sort of what happens. And I didn't see this move, but he played it also with such conviction that because it's the only move, I thought. And here I already kind of didn't see a win before. And I thought, okay, initially I thought maybe I should just find some queen d2 or queen d2 was losing. I thought because of rook e4, queen f6 easier, but I thought rook e4, and then I noticed there is still queen b6, and I thought, okay, at least there is some hope. I'm not fully lost because it's amazing. The queen protects h6 and creates the pin. And then I noticed after queen b6 there's queen f6, so it was losing. So then I started looking for another way to hold.
But you also didn't have much time.
Yeah, but yes, exactly. So while I was looking for another way to hold, I saw that my seconds is like 3-1. So then I do this queen b6 knowing it's losing, and then it's losing. Because, okay, you have to make some kind of move, and I didn't have any move ready. But actually, the funny part is that since I panicked into bishop e4, maybe I should have panicked into this, and at least I would have held it, because it's a draw. Probably. I mean, computer says 0, so I assume it's a draw. So it was even unfortunate, the way into which but it's kind of funny that the move bishop e4 has maybe cost me a loss in this game. So but it was a winning move. So it was kind of and it's also kind of stupid because I'm sure that, for example, here I was intending to go knight g4 because what else, yeah? But if you think in some sense, if you already want to go knight g4 back here, why can't you come up with that later? Yeah, I think it was just the fact, and even after the scramble, I was looking, okay, already I was going to resign after this control, and I was looking for a win. And even after the scramble, I couldn't find it because I was looking in the wrong moment. I thought the win should have been here, which it was, but I didn't realize that this was the winning move. I thought this was the blunder. It's kind of
funny how these things work.
Yeah, it was very, but it was also remarkable that yeah, it's remarkable that this whole thing happened. And also of course, his defense from this moment onwards, like when he is on seconds.
It's very impressive.
Yeah, he went from 4 minutes to 8 seconds. Basically, he wants to basically resign. He just makes the last move. And then it was both impressive, but also kind of fortunate that these moves are there at all, because normally if this thing is happening to you, you're supposed to lose.
You kind of play out of despair almost. And then
That's usually how you're supposed to lose in this kind of scenario, but it was a remarkable game. And also, it was also remarkable that on every move I had different ways to bail out. For example, at some point I already lost control. I think, here, bishop before I went. I think I can bail out, for example, with rook g2 always in knight e3.
But I guess you're not looking to bail out, right?
No, exactly, I don't. But I always have some sort of bailout. So it's
that you suddenly don't
that
have
I don't have one.
Yeah.
Despite that I am sort of thinking about my position, and I'm not like I'm completely paralyzed or something. But so I thought that there would always be some sort of plan B, but suddenly there was no plan B. But turns out that there was some kind of nice plan A that I missed. So it was a remarkable game.
Where does this rank in terms of most painful losses in your career?
I don't think of it in that terms. No, I think more. Okay, it was a remarkable game, one of the most interesting ones for sure. In terms of painful losses, okay, maybe in the moment. Although to be very honest with you, losing is a very painful feeling in all sorts of circumstances. It's equally painful. So I think I've had many. Also, more the ones when you are about to have a very good result and you don't. So, for example. When I played candidates and I lost to Grishuk, when I was close to qualifying to the match in some sense. As close as I ever was at least. I was not that close, but I won 3 games. I was only half point behind Jan, I think, if not, yes. And I was really, really close with 2 games to go, and I was on a winning streak. I thought I'd continue. Grishuk was out of form. So, and also sometimes I had some, even recently in the World Blitz, I was on course to qualify to the top 8. And I had to beat Wesley, so losing that game was quite painful. It's for me, it's my career is filled with with these moments, but it only. For me, it's normal. I've also won things, so I find that I have a healthy balance between heartbreaks and then wins. But of course, you have people who have amazing careers that are much more smooth, like Magnus and currently Gukesh, and it's just a different journey, and. I can totally see the fun there too, but I'm okay with mine.
This tournament, we're only 4 rounds in, but we've already seen your game has not been the only heartbreaking loss. We've seen quite a lot of blunders. What do you think it is about this tournament that there's so many, exciting games, but also so many heartbreaking losses, so many blunders?
Well, in general, tournaments are all very exciting. We checked with my trainer some statistics in terms of. Number of resulting games over the course of the years, and I think classical chess is at the moment, from a statistical point of view, is in as good a shape as ever. And in a field like that, when there are so many fighting players, we have that every year. So to me, it's not new. Okay,
well, Anish, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Still 9 rounds to go? 9 rounds to go?
Well, it's not the moment when you start to say how many rounds have to go. Way too many.
Way too many. Thank you so much for stopping by, and best of luck for tomorrow.